Hey crafters, we're back for part 3 of our envelope mini album, and I want to apologize for any background noise right up front. I'm doing laundry and you're just going to hear it. So sometimes I don't have to do it when I'm filming, but when you're getting ready for a trip, you just have to do it when you have to do it. So if you hear it, I apologize. Today we're going to install our pages into our book, just like this. Now I had somebody ask me if they could do this same design but add additional pages, and you absolutely can. The only thing it's going to change is your spine and the size that you put into your book. So if you're going to change it in any way as far as adding more pages, just be sure you allow for that in the spine and also in your book covers. Alright, we are going to glue this guy down, but first we're going to do something. And this is going to seem weird probably to some of you, but if you've ever tried to glue a slick surface to any other surface, sometimes you can get, it'll be too slick to adhere. And I'm going to do something I learned in the world of nails, or in the world of cosmetology, because if you don't know, I am a barber by trade, also have a cosmetology license, but the situation here is this is so slick that when I put glue to it, it's just going to sit on the surface and this could slide out or fall out of what we're gluing it to. So this is a distress tool by Close to My Heart, and honestly it's just a nail file. Let's just be honest. It's a squishy one of those nail files with multiple different types of files on it, and we're going to just rough this up. I'm literally just roughing up the surface of this duct tape basically to get the shine off of it. You ever had your nails done and they rough your nail bed up before they put on, say, acrylic? The reason they do that is if you just put acrylic to a smooth nail, it will just come right off. So we want to create a tooth, as they call it, for our glue to stick. It's not really changing the integrity of the duct tape. Really, it's not. The reason is what makes duct tape strong is the weave inside of the tape. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to get this really good, because the edges are going to hold a lot of the weight. Does this seem like too much work? You know, you have to think about, how long do I want to have this album? And I think your answer is going to be forever, right? Alright, do not rough this up until you see fiber. That's not what we want to do. We just want to knock the shine back and make it kind of matte finished, okay? And then clean your work surface off. I have one of these microfiber cloths I use, and I love it. And I can just throw it into the washing machine and then reuse it. And I'm also going to use it on here to get some of that excess duct tape off. If that seems like too much work, just skip the duct tape portion, but I really think it's important to do that. Okay, we're also going to use hot glue today, because I also believe that hot glue will adhere to this, kind of melt into it, and also to my book much better than just your regular glue. So, got my hot glue ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and put glue on all of these edges, as close to the edge as I can get it. And I recommend, if you have a high temp hot glue gun, to use it on this part of the project, because high temp will melt even better into that duct tape. And then I'm not going to be shy in the middle. I'm going to really load this guy up. Can you see that? Alright, let's put it in place. I'll have a little bit of movement time, probably not too much. Let's get that where it needs to be. I just feel better about using the hot glue, just like I said, because of the duct tape, and I also feel better about roughing it up. I just think that's the way to go. Now, as we go on this project, I will let you know. I think you might remember in one of my mini albums I discovered that some glue I was using did not hold. And if this doesn't hold, I will also let you know way ahead of time. Now, one thing I need to do that you guys don't, or you might not have to because you might not have used a pencil, but I need to erase these pencil marks. I'm probably going to cover this up anyway. I have an idea for a way to make this kind of cute right here, but just in case I don't, I'm going to get rid of these pencil marks. I also had somebody mention that you don't have to do the pencil marks, and that is true. You can just use your scoreboard, and I've done that before, but I really want you to be able to see these when I do them on camera, and for me, the scoreboard doesn't let you see them as well. Alright, let me get my hot glue gun out of the way. Okay, now that I have this installed, I want to work on my flaps. My plan for flaps is to install them into these these slices that we made into the envelopes, and to have them turn inward. That'll just give me a lot of real estate. Can you imagine how much more space that's going to give us? And they'll be flat enough that they're going to fit in there and I won't have to worry about it. And you can, on a flap, you can have them turn in or out. So by installing it, it's useful either way. The only thing you want to decide is, where is my pocket going to open? If you want your pocket to open on the outside, put your flap here. And if you want it to open to the inside, put your flap on the other side. That may be confusing, but you'll see as we get going. Now we need to decide on the size. Now I already know these are 8 3/4, so I'm going to cut the height just slightly shorter so it'll slide in there. But on my width, what I'm wanting to do is I want to do a border cut on my paper. So I know if I use a border punch, I'm going to probably come in probably close to 1/2 inch that I'll lose by using the border punch. So I want to make sure I have plenty of width. I'm going to shoot for 5 inches before I do the border punch. Now don't forget, this is very important. If you just do 5.5 inches and then you do your border punch, you have nothing to turn in to hold it into the pocket. So come out another 1/2 inch so you'll have a fold to adhere it to your pocket. Now the reason I'm doing 1/2 inch and not a 1/4 inch is because I think it's going to help to stabilize these as well by having that thicker piece turn in. So let's cut those real quick. I'm also just going to use white cardstock for this part of the project because my envelopes are white, and I'm just going to kind of match them. Now because my paper's 8.5 by 11, I cannot get 2 out of 1 page. I can only get 1. So I'm going to cut this down to slightly under 8 3/4 for height. Okay, and then my width is going to be 6 inches so I can have the turn under as well. 6 inches. I love that. If you know where that's from, put it in the comments. We say it all the time. I don't know why we do. We're just dorks, I guess. Okay. Now let's border punch these guys. And I'm not sure which one I want to use. Let me do some ciphering. I'll get right back to you. I love this border punch, and I don't think I use it enough. I think this is the one I'm going to use. It is large scallop circles from EK Success. I'll try to find one of these and link it for you below if you're interested in getting one of those. If you've never used a border punch, I'm going to show you how it works, and then I'll do the rest of them off camera so you guys don't have to watch. You can do it a couple ways. You can start here in the center. You can start on one edge. You can pretty much do what you want to do. I like to kind of start in the middle, just kind of eyeball in the center and punch. Now this is a pretty big border punch, so I'm going to be coming in a good bit, but I'm not worried about it. I think that's exactly what I want, is a nice thick border. Now once you've punched one time, on the sides of your punch there is a pattern for you to follow in the foil. So you just line this up so that it matches your pattern, and your punch will then continue out. Isn't that nice? I love this punch. It's so pretty. Alright. Can't you see running some ribbon through it? Y'all seen me do that before. If you follow me on my scripture art journal, I've done that in one of my art journal books one time before, or one of my pages. Okay, this may bother some people. It does not bother me. You can take your punch and figure out how to make them just exactly right and all that good stuff. It doesn't bother me, and I'll tell you why. I will sometimes come in and like even trim these off and just kind of make them. Let me show you. We'll do it. Now that I know how it's going to land because I'm doing it in the center, you can come just like this, and you can just take your scissors and just match it up like so. And then just cut this away here. Just straight out. And you can always come back with another punch and clean that up, but I'm going to take this one off now too. I'm really just taking off this last little bit of scallop that really doesn't even need to be there. And so then we just end up with this in our book. And I like it. Isn't that cute? I may run ribbon. I always tend to want to run ribbon in those. Clean this up a little bit more. Good deal. Alright, I'm going to punch all these and we'll get right back together. Okay, so all of my pages now have the border punches done, just like this. And I want to show you something. These circles come out of that border punch, and I like to try to get every little penny I can out of my craft supplies. And I don't know if you've ever seen, I'm sure you've seen Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, but she did something one time with circles that she cut out where she turned them into sequins. This would be perfect for that kind of thing. So anytime you're using something, always look at, you know, what comes away from that product, because these are going to come in handy. And that's not even all of them. I got a whole bunch of them from doing this, so I will put those into a little like Ziploc-y bag, and I'll be able to use those when I need them. Okay, here we go. It's time to score. Notice, here's the thing. Notice how they don't line up. I'm not worried about that. They're not going to be on each other. They're going to be in a flap, and they're going to look separate from each other, so I'm not worried about that. And that might bother some people, but it doesn't bother me. What does bother me is using a too short of a scoreboard, so hang on. I don't like to use it when I have to flip it, so we're going to use the big one. So the big scoreboard, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to use my little ball tool here and score right here at 1/2 inch. Okay, so there's one. I cannot tell you how much more I'm enjoying this ball tool score than my bone folder for this. I feel like this keeps me, I have a hard time with not poking through the paper, and this tends to keep me from doing it because it sits in that groove and it can't go any further than that. So as long as I'm not using the small one, I'm using the bigger one, I have such good luck with scoring. So if you struggle with your scoreboard, maybe that's something for you too. Use a different tool. Alright, let's get to folding and creasing. Now, because these are going to be flaps that go in both directions, I'm going to go ahead and score them and crease them in both ways, so that way they'll be nice and fluid. Okay? So go ahead and get them all done, and we'll be right back. Now I'm just going to apply adhesive to these areas here on the side, to our fold areas, and you only have to put it on one edge. You do not have to put it on both sides, because if you put it on both sides, you're going to seal up your pocket, and that's not what we want to do. We want to have this nice and adhered, but we want a pocket behind it. Alright, it's time to start installing them, and we'll just remove our adhesive backers. I bet it's hard for you guys to see on the white, and I noticed yesterday in my editing that it went blurry on me, and I'm going to try to keep my hands here where it'll stay focused on my hands as much as possible. But when it gets to these solid colors, my camera kind of goes, what do you do? And it kind of freaks out. Hey, this is really, really important. When you put these flaps in, do not overlap your score line with paper. You want to take your envelope right to the edge of your score line. If you cross that score line underneath, you're not going to get a good fold. And see how I can clear that all the way? But if my score line is too close, it kind of gives resistance, and that's not what we want. We want it to be able to close nice and flat, okay? So just something to think about. All right, and this one on the other side. You see how I just opened that envelope edge and slid this in? Just like this. I'm just thinking about this. I'm going to put this pencil here so it'll have something to focus on the whole time so it won't mess us up. I don't want this to be wasted for you guys. I've got that in. I'm going right to the score line, but not over it, and seal that into place. So now it will shut nice and flat. So see, this is what our pockets will look like. They will open. Look at all that real estate we've got, and they will close without too much bulk. Isn't that good? All right, let's keep going. And I'm going to score this again as we go, just because now I am building up some bulk in there, and that way I won't have any issues. I said I was going to leave that pencil there for it to have something to focus on, and I moved it. Once we start putting the designer paper in, it'll get a lot better because it'll have color to focus on. Alright guys, I've got those pages installed now, or those flaps installed so you can see. And we still have pockets behind them, so those are still going to be workable, okay? So every page has its flaps. Now, I think that's going to be it for today because that was a pretty good bit of work to catch up on. And let's check it out. Let's close it and look at it, see how we're looking. I think tomorrow or then the next video we'll start adding paper because I'm ready to start seeing some color, and I'm really ready to start playing with that beautiful paper. By the way, if you're interested, let me get it. if you're interested in this Bohemian Bazaar paper, Jamie at Punch Place Plus had like 3 of these left, and she has some other graphic 45 paper, and she's put it on sale for 15% off, guys. And they already have really good prices, but it's 15% off. And so if you want to go grab these, she's not going to be reordering these, I'm pretty sure. I think we've talked about that in the past. But while she's got them, she has them on sale. So go grab yours before they get gone, and catch up to this point with me so that when we get back together, we're ready to play with that paper. All right, talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.